Welcome back to Blue Collar Sports, everyone. Thank you for staying with us through that break as we head to segment number 2. We appreciate you guys tuning in today, whether it's through Twitter, through the app. We got plenty of ways you can follow us. We got a social media page. Trevor, you want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Collar Sports. We got great stuff on there for you. Photos, our picks, our standings. We got polls on there. And just reach out to us if you want to be on the show, like Ryan here. So it's great stuff. And we got all our shows on YouTube right now. And obviously, if you're watching us on Periscope, keep doing that. It's great stuff, and we really appreciate it.
That is right. We sure appreciate it. I'm your co-host, Seth Newville, joined here with co-host Trevor Relling and our special guest, Ryan. He was on our last segment as well, but you enjoying yourself today?
Having a good time, yeah.
He's tuned in before, so we're happy to have him here. We are talking hoops, though, and we are going to keep that focus going. Now as we're going to gear towards a little bit more towards college, but look on NBA prospects, because there's some big names this year, a couple guys that people are saying could be franchise-type players in this draft, and we're going to start with the big one. We've had a debate about it. We've talked about it a little bit, but Ryan, I want to get your take on Zion Williamson, and I mean, I got this thing I'll talk about here in a second, but I want to get your take first. Do you think he could be a franchise-changing type player?
Yes, but I think he needs a few years to be franchise-changing. I don't think if he is the best. I think if he's the best player on a team, I don't think he can win a championship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think he needs at least one other person.
Right.
But I think he could change the game of basketball. Like he's box office. If he goes to the Knicks, he's gonna be selling that place out.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's exactly what the Knicks need. If they land that,
he's a big city guy.
Yeah, if they land that number 1 pick, he's gonna be special. He's gonna get a lot of fame, a lot of jerseys sold. But yeah, I've been watching college basketball since like 2006, 2007 when I really started getting into sports.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly have never seen a player like Zion Williamson in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He drips talent. He's oozing talent. He's elite.
He's pretty much. I know you like him just as much. I may get my opinion on, but do you think he's by far and away the best player in this draft?
I think he's absolutely number 1 right now. I think you like RJ, obviously. He's right there, number 2. I don't think it's that big of a gap as many people are saying.
Right.
In franchise-changing players, a hard term to talk about.
Yeah.
It means totally different things in different organizations. I think he can be that type of player, like a LeBron James, like a Russell Westbrook, just pure athleticism and can take over games in any way. He's just well-rounded, not great at just one particular thing, like Clay shooting or stuff like that. So I think Zion, he's a franchise-changing player where, like you said, he's going to sell tickets, he's going to bring in fans, and he's going to put on a show. And that's what people want to see. And I don't know, he's going to need help around him to be the best team and win championships, but he can have that, and he's gonna change a franchise for sure.
He fits New York to a T. He's exactly what New York needs right now. They are by far and away the favorites to get the number 1 pick, but Cleveland, they always find a way to get the number 1 pick. It seems like
it's weird.
Year after year. But I want to talk about Roy Williams. I don't know if you guys saw, but Roy Williams, coach in North Carolina, he's been coaching a long time, since the 70s, I believe. I mean, he's been coaching it for a long time. He came out and said in a press conference, they play Duke this week, their arch rival. But he said, name somebody else that has the skill set that he has in regards to Zion Williamson. Because in the college game, I've never seen it. Which is kind of what you guys were both just talking about it. But that's some big words coming from a rival coach. What is to make of this?
I think it's absolutely true. We've seen this kind of athleticism probably from a Giannis, but Giannis doesn't have this build that Zion has. LeBron's probably the most similar, but LeBron never played college, so we've never seen this in college, I'd say. And I think he's absolutely true. He's one of the most athletic players in the world, and he's in college, and it's crazy. He's a bigger Russell Westbrook. He's a power forward version, and it's just crazy. I don't think we've ever seen it, like you said.
The only thing that really worries me is Zion Williamson, I'll get to my take now, is I don't see and Roy Williams talks about, he says his skill set, I don't see a lot of skills really set for him yet. I mean, his jump shot's not developed yet. That'll be, like you said, maybe a couple years before he could be a franchise-changing player. His jump shot's going to have to come. we've seen players that rely on athleticism. I know we've never seen anyone quite as athletic as Zion Williamson. I think that's what really wows people. Obviously, he's 6'6", he can jump out the gym, and he's 280 pounds. But the NBA is a different breed of athletes. Everyone in the NBA is athletic. The big guys are a completely different game. The game's slower. The game's going to change a lot for him. When I look at RJ Barrett, this is a guy that I think could contribute right away. He's got a nice jump shot. He could get to the rim. He's long. He's lanky. He's built like an NBA wing. Like I said, he can shoot. He's a good defender as well. This is a more well-rounded guy with a better skill set. I understand that when people say, I've never seen the athleticism that I've seen in Zion Williamson, but to say I've never seen the skill set, I think that's a reach, and I truthfully still think RJ Barrett's the better player.
Yeah, for Zion, the skill set, it doesn't really worry me. LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they don't really have that one skill set. They kind of do everything, and that's what Zion I compare him to. And in RJ Barrett, I like him a lot, but for me, just too many similarities to Brandon Ingram, and Brandon Ingram just has not panned out to what I thought he could be right now. And so that, unfortunately for RJ, kind of hurts him for me right now. But I think possibly he could be that player that I thought he could be, that Brandon could be, and possibly a different version of a Kevin Durant. And but I do like both of them, and I understand what you're saying is it is kind of a reach that we haven't seen the skill set of Zion Williamson before.
And I think it's a great draft. It's a deep draft. And now we're going to get to the rest of that. Zion is heavily favored to go number one. But looking past this, there's kind of two guys that are battling. Cam Reddish is slowly started crawled into it. But Ja Moore and RJ Barrett are now kind of battling for 2 and 3. Ryan, who are some names you like in this draft? Do you think it's a deep draft class, or do you think it's top heavy?
I think this year, I haven't looked much into it, but from what I'm seeing, I think it's a little top heavy. As of right now, I kind of think it's Ja Morant and Duke Kids or bust, as what I see. And with those top teams, the top 5, it looks like they have their hands full. They are trying to battle to get higher up there because, and you know what, I think Cam Reddish needs to be talked about more.
Yeah.
I think they just see him as like the third wheel at Duke, but if he wasn't on Duke, he would easily be the best player on any other team in the country right now.
Mm-hmm. And his game fits an NBA style. He's a 6'7" wing. He's lanky just like RJ Barrett, but he's a shooter. He's a 3-and-D guy. And I mean, if you guys watched that game against Louisville the other night, that big 20-point comeback, he saved them. He was the one that they were relying on. He also hit the big shot. I think it was Florida State early on in the year when they beat him by a buzzer beater, and I know he was the one that hit it. So, there was a college announcer. I'm blanking on his name now, but actually said Cam Reddish is his favorite out of these 3 guys,
really?
Which I have not heard that before. But I do think Cam Reddish should definitely be in the discussion.
I think you're absolutely right. It's the Duke Kids or Ja Morant, and after that, I do think it's top heavy with them. You probably could find some nice role players after that, but I think those top 4 are really nice players and could be cornerstones for any franchise in the draft this year.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an interesting draft. I've never seen. I mean, we might see three top picks be from Duke. I know John Morant's been. I'm a big fan of John Morant. I talked about that. But we might see the first 3 players go be Duke players. That's pretty remarkable.
It shows you how talented Duke is, and that's why I think they are heavily favored to be the championship champions this year in March Madness. But we'll see, obviously, what happens in March.
We'll see. We'll have plenty more coverage on that, too, as we get in there. We're now going to move back into the NBA, though. We talked about what we expect to see in free agency last segment. Talked about the All-Star game. Talked about some big names. But now we're going to go into what it looks like right now. NBA starts back up Thursday night from this All-Star weekend. So I believe it's a full week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ended last Thursday. Yeah. So it's a full week. But we've talked about where the standings are at in terms of the Eastern and the Western Conference. East, we both see 4 contenders there with Toronto, Milwaukee, Boston, Philly. Indiana, I think they were in the discussion until Oladipo went down. I think they'll start to fall, and I really only see 1, maybe 2 contenders in the West. I think the Thunder are getting close. But what are your guys' predictions for the rest of the season?
You guys kind of heard mine. I want to hear what Ryan has to say here about who his favorite teams are in the East. Because Seth, you just said it. I do like the Bucks, Raptors, Celtics, and Sixers. For me, it'd be Boston and Philadelphia possibly getting to the finals out of those 2 teams. And then in the West, it's going to be likely the Warriors. I don't see anyone else doing that. But who do you see other than those 2 teams?
So I'm gonna go with the East. Yeah, it's too bad Oladipo got hurt.
Yeah, that would have made things interesting.
He's a really good player. I like watching him. But yeah, you're right. It's just those top 4 teams: Bucks, Raptors, Celtics, and Sixers. And yeah, it's not even close in my opinion. I mean, I like the Nets. I like D'Angelo Russell. I think they're a few years away.
Yeah.
But I think my Eastern Conference Finals is going to be Bucks Raptors.
Bucks, so you're big on the Bucks right now.
I am. I think Mike Budenholzer has a good squad, and they're playing really good basketball. And same with the Raptors. They got that new coach. Can't remember what his name is. I know they fired Casey.
Nick Nurse, I think.
Yeah, it is Nurse.
Yeah, he stepped right in, got Kawhi Leonard, and unfortunately for DeRozan, Raptors are doing better without him.
Yeah,
they are.
But I felt
DeRozan's a great player, but Kawhi's different.
Yeah, he just elevated them. So I think those two are the favorite. Not by far, though, by any means.
Right.
I think the Celtics, they have the experience. They've been to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
They can easily click it together. Sixers, Joel Embiid, absolute monster. I think he can even carry them. And they just got Tobias Harris. Sneaky good move, in my opinion.
He's going to be a free agent, too.
Exactly. So I think we'll see where he goes, too.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, he has the ability to take over games. He can defend really well. But, yeah, I'm going to go Bucks Raptors in the East.
Hmm.
And then moving to the West, I mean, I don't see anyone beating Golden State.
Yeah.
I really don't. The Nuggets, I think they're a little too young. I'm a huge Jokic fan. Jokic bandwagon since 2 years ago, baby. But, yeah, they're a few players away from experience. Thunder, I think the Thunder are the biggest threat to the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Russ, he's got that mentality where he's like, you got to get out of my way. This ball's going in the hole.
He doesn't matter who's in front. It doesn't matter who he's playing against.
Exactly. I think he needs to work on his jump shot a little. I think it's a little mental with him because he's having one of his worst shooting seasons of his career. I think a little bit of it has to do with his surgery he got this offseason. But I'm glad he kind of took a step back and realized Paul George is the closer on this team. Like, he's the guy. He's the better player, which I respect Russ for that.
Yeah.
And Paul George, he's my MVP, in my opinion. Honestly.
Yeah.
After they came back on the Rockets and Paul George hit that game winner, I was like, wow.
That solidified it.
He's having his best year I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I think it's Thunder Warriors Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
Wait. If the Lakers don't make the playoffs, if the Lakers make the playoffs, it's LeBron James, dude.
So then I want to ask you, if Lakers get in, let's say Lakers get in around 6th or 7th seed. Right now they're sitting in 10th, 3 games out of 8. But it's definitely jammed up at the end. They could be anywhere from 3 to out right now. But let's say they get that 7 or 6th seed and they play the Thunder round 1. Who are you taking?
Yeah, the Lakers can't get
we
the
talked
8th seed.
about that.
Lakers cannot get the 8th
They
seed.
won't get the
8th seed's a trap. You do not want.
Yeah.
Stay in the lottery if you're going to get the 8th seed.
Exactly. If they get the 7th seed, I think they can beat the Nuggets. I really do.
Yeah.
It's got to go to 6 or 7. It's not going to be easy, but it's just because LeBron James has that experience. The Nuggets are a little inexperienced. If they play the Thunder, that'll be a great series. I think the Lakers could do it. I don't think they will, though.
Right.
They absolutely could. The Lakers team we're seeing right now is not the team we're going to see once they get to the playoffs. So I think we could see them really turn it on, be a different team that we haven't really seen them this year, finally try and click it. And if they are able to do that, then they could definitely have a chance at the Nuggets or the Thunder as a 6 or a 7 seed. And so I don't think we've seen the latest from the Lakers yet, and we're going to see a different team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think I've been this happy going into an All-Star weekend in years. To think of a playoffs without LeBron James would be incredible.
I don't know why you would not want the best player in the world not in the playoffs.
I mean, I do think they'll make the playoffs. I think the Clippers, they're not going to make it. I want to see the Kings. I would love to see the Sacramento Kings make the playoffs. It'd be unfortunate to see them play the Warriors. That'd be a rough first playoff experience for Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox. But I would love to see that story. But I think, it's going to be tough for Lakers. I think the top 6 seeds right now in the West, the Warriors, Nuggets, Thunder, Blazers, Rockets, Jazz, I think they're all locks to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't see any of those teams falling out. I think the Jazz are about to go on a big run. Houston's going to make it. They got James Harden. He's playing out of his mind. Portland, they've been there. And, of course, those top 3 teams. San Antonio, it's hard to count Pop out of the playoffs. They're close to a lock, but definitely not a lock. But they're on the edge. And then, of course, it's a battle for the 8th seed. So it's a tough road for the Lakers. There's not a lot of openings.
LeBron's been through tough roads. He knows how to get
He's
there.
been in the Eastern Conference his whole career. He hasn't been through tough roads.
He knows how to get there. I'm not worried.
It's gonna be. I think it's. I don't think we've really seen LeBron really have to worry about a second half of the season like we will. So I think it's gonna be interesting. It could bring out some of the best basketball of his career. We could see a different LeBron after this break. I know we were watching ESPN this morning. They were talking about how some believe that they're still worried about his hamstring injury, which I don't know.
True.
I don't know if that's the case. I think they're just searching for more excuses. But that's definitely, I think, the biggest thing to watch in the second half.
He's not in game shape yet. He's going to get back once he gets more games under his belt. And this Lakers team is going to click, and they're going to get to the playoffs as a 7 or 8 seed.
Better hope it's not the 8.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That would be. I'm sure the Warriors don't want that either, though. They do not
Yeah.
want to face LeBron James
I
in
bet
the
that
first
goes to
round of the
6 or 7.
playoffs. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that, to be honest. But that wraps up kind of the overview of the NBA season. You're listening to Blue Collar Sports. Stay tuned. We are going to be right back here for the last segment of hour number 1. Stay tuned. We'll be back.